Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Women, Real Talk. So, today's episode is one that you're going to feel as much as you hear. I'm joined by two super cool chicks from Sister Compass, Tiffany Grosso and Jen Sheridan. These lovely women embody the divine feminine, and together we flowed through many topics. Our similar but different journeys, the lessons we've learned, and what it really looks like to walk this path of growth and spiritual connection. It's one of those conversations that feels like you're right here with us. And so before we dive in, I want to invite you to join me in person for something truly special. The Day of the Dead journey here in Yucatan from October 30th through November 5th. If you are carrying grief, feeling overwhelmed by life, or simply curious to experience this sacred celebration in a way that most travelers never will, well, this is for you. Come walk this journey with me as your local guide, surrounded by authentic traditions, powerful rituals, and the beauty of Yucatan, Mexico. And here's a little gift. If you bring a friend, you will both receive 2 free massages during your stay here at the Hacienda. So, all right, let's get into today's conversation with Tiffany and Jen. Hello, ladies. Welcome to this episode of Real Women, Real Talk with me, your host, Sarah Renshaw. And today I have 2 lovely ladies. Tiffany Grosso. Grosso.
Grosso.
I knew I was going to do that. You put it in your head and then you say the opposite. But
It's
thank
fine.
you. And Jen Sheridan. I don't know much about these lovely ladies. What I do know is that I have met them through Green Maya Project. They have come down here to Merida, Yucatan, a couple of times now, hosting a retreat, a Reiki retreat. So a healing, divine feminine energy. And so it's been purely professional, and we haven't had a chance to get to know each other at all. So this is an opportunity for me to learn about you, lovely ladies, and to share with my followers and guests. And so welcome to both of you.
Well, thank you
Thank
so much for having us, Sarah. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you and get to know you on this level too.
Yes. Yes, I'm very excited to just chat with you on a personal note instead of just professional.
And
Yeah.
we're so grateful that we even found you through Green Maya Project. I just want to say that off the bat.
Oh, yeah, the same. We're sharing kind of parallel missions of what we're working on. So why don't we just start by each of you telling us a little bit of your background, who you are, where you come from, maybe some family dynamics, and then we can move into more about what you do, because you 2 lovely ladies obviously work together with Compass Rose, your company. So we can move into that. But let's start by getting to know who you are first, and then leading into that. So whichever one wants to go, you guys.
Jen, you want to start, love?
Sure, I'll start. So just to clarify, our company's Sister Compass. Tiffany
Oh,
has
there's
another
one.
business called Compass Rose Coaching, but they sound similar, so no worries. So I'm Jen. I live in Boston, Massachusetts, and I have 2 sons. They're 12 and 9. And my husband, as we live in the house here we've got our 2 cats, and I'm the only female in this whole house. So I'm carrying the feminine energy here. I work as a physician assistant in the gastroenterology field in Boston. I've been doing that for almost 16 years, and it's been really fulfilling in terms of, I guess, healing, from a medicine perspective. And then for the past probably 3 years or so, I've been working with Tiffany, running our business, which is really focused on women and them remembering their own inner magic and coming back into sisterhood with themselves and coming back into connection with themselves. And I've also, in terms of like my own kind of spiritual journey, uh, probably about 5 years ago, like after a little bit before that, really when I started having my kids, is I started seeking more personal development and wanting to better myself and wanting to be like the best mom. And that really kind of turned into like becoming my best self. And so I went on this personal development journey. And through that, I met Tiffany. And then through that, I really started finding spirituality and connection to something bigger. And that kind of is what led us into starting this business. So it's a little bit about me, the short version.
Oh,
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Thank you.
So I'm Tiffany and I live in New York and I have a wonderful Bronx, New York accent, which you'll hear. And I grew up in a big Italian family. I had one sibling, but a lot of aunts and cousins and grandmothers, a very matriarchal type of family. But I am married. It'll be 20 years this September. So I'm so excited about that. Yeah. And we have 3 boys. So one is 18, one is 16, and one is 12. And our 18-year-old just left for college. So I'm navigating that. And I just want to note that we're all boy moms here. So
Oh, Sarah has a daughter, I think.
No, I have 2
you
boys.
don't?
Oh, I don't know why.
Yeah.
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 Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's
so we're
nice.
all boy moms here and how we've all kind of evolved to be bringing kind of in the divine feminine. So I'm also the only feminine. I have 5 pets, 2 dogs and 3 cats, and they're all male also. And I have no sisters. So
I also have no sisters. We each only have one brother.
no biological sisters, but I have many sisters in my life that I've created. So anyway, just quickly, my journey. I've been in spiritual and personal development since I've been in my early 20s. And I really have been a seeker. I grew up Catholic and felt a real connection at that time to my own personal relationship with source, with God. I felt like I heard angels. Um, and while I don't follow the church anymore, I still have this very spiritual relationship. And that was part of my seeking. And all that I've done in my work has been under the healing umbrella. I have been a massage therapist, energy healer, birth doula, end of life doula, and then a life coach and mental health counselor. And then that's led up to, and I still have my coaching practice today, which is Compass Rose Coaching. And
Okay,
then
great.
from that, Jen and I created Sister Compass, and we'll, I'm sure, get into that at some point. But yeah, that's a little touch of where I've been.
Awesome. Awesome. Welcome. Well, just to give you a little background for me, yep, 2 boys. They're grown now. My oldest is going to be 28 next month. I like
Mm.
blows my mind. It's like, if you're 28, how old am I? Like
Right?
that's just not okay.
Yeah.
My youngest is 21, so they're both gone.
They grow
So
boys. Yeah.
yeah, they're big and they they live their own lives. So they're not down here in Mexico with me where I find myself residing and living. They're, Europe and my older one's in California where I'm actually from. I'm from
I was
LA.
wondering that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I am actually divorced. I was married for 15 years, and had the same situation. The boys and two boy dogs, 2 boy sons. The husband was the feminine. But I didn't have any kind of spirituality. I was so disconnected from any of it. I didn't have any kind of religion or ritual or practice growing up. So I was completely void of it.
Yeah.
And then when I got divorced, my life turned upside down, obviously, right? And it's like, what the hell do I do now? Like this, like, who am I? And without a husband and without, like, wow. And so I started with practicing yoga. And
Mhm.
I
and I made this promise or commitment to myself where I'm going to do 30 days of yoga straight.
Nice.
And so I just found myself doing all these different types of yoga, and it turned to breath work and meditation. And I ended up, I'd met a woman who did Temescal ceremonies up in Ojai, California, with the Native Americans there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, it completely opened my eyes to a whole other sense of spirituality, right? I mean, when you do these native ceremonies with native people who've had these practices for, thousands of years, and that energy that comes with it, it really changed my life.
Wow.
Opened me up to all of it. And the interesting at that point, I had thought like, oh my God, I have all the answers now. I know how life works, and I know what everyone needs to do, and let's go. Let's make this happen. And so with my ex-husband, we had already started coming down here to Mexico. We had we would go to Tulum for our family holidays, or him and I would get away in Tulum. And this was before Tulum was anything, this
Yeah,
was
yeah.
25 years ago. So it wasn't like it is now.
Right.
And so I just continued that. And even after our divorce, I would still come to this part, to the Yucatan Peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
And I met after my divorce, a couple years after my divorce, I came down to Tulum for a reconnect, right? And I'm still doing all my practices, all my spirituality. I was connected to the source. I felt amazing. I was high as a kite. Everything was wonderful. And I met this shaman guy.
Uh-huh.
And my background, I'm a sustainability consultant. So I'm sustainable everything. Let's save the planet for our future, for our kids, right?
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And it was before it was the cool thing. I was still a tree hugging weirdo. Sarah's coming over. Make sure you get the recycling in order.
Hide the Tupperware. Hide the plastic Tupperware.
Yeah. Exactly. And so I had met this guy, this shaman, and he presented himself as the shaman, as this healer, right? So I said, we started getting to know each other and kept in touch. And I was like, you know what? Let's start a business in Mexico doing these sacred medicinal ceremonies and doing ecotourism. And like, I want to find another way to teach people about sustainability, right? And if we can show them when we're in nature and we're doing these native ceremonies, like, it feels amazing, right?
Yeah.
So a couple years into this relationship, 5 to be exact, took me a while to figure it out that this guy was a raging narcissist.
Oh no.
And so I had like done everything trying to make this guy, please this guy, that I had depleted my spirituality. Like I was so disconnected from it because I was like, how is this possible that spirit brought me this guy? Like it must be me. I must be making the mistakes. Why can't I make him happy and build this business? It's such a wonderful idea. Like, why is this so hard? And so at the end of 5 years, I was depleted. I had given up. I was like, I can't, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
So I ended that relationship, obviously. And at that point, our youngest son was going into high school. And he was like, I was like, let's move to Mexico. We've been coming here for 20 something years.
Yeah.
And my ex-husband and I had bought a place here in Merida.
Ah, okay.
And so it was a bed and breakfast when we first bought it. So 2003. So we were very familiar. We'd come here for all the kids' holidays. We were already connected to Yucatan. And so when our youngest son was going into high school, I said, let's go. Let's get the hell out of LA. Like I need something different. I need to, start over. And luckily he was cool enough. He was like, yep, let's go. So he and I moved down here. And at that point, I was like, I cannot let what happened with that relationship, personal and professional, like I need to restart again.
Mm,
And so I started here in Yucatan. I started going out and seeing who's doing the tours, the archaeological sites, the cenotes.
yeah.
You ladies know all the beautiful, unique places down here, and that is where I met Abuela.
I was going to ask you about that. Yes.
And so that's through that journey I found her,
Mm,
and was through her and the ceremonies that I participated in with her,
yeah.
I was able to reconnect and reclaim my feminine.
Mm,
Mhm.
And so,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, and so that kind of all came together. It was 2020, right? So it was like
Yeah.
COVID
Wow.
started,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
it was like,
Yep.
you have nothing but time, so
Right.
let's reconnect to that. So
Yeah.
that's my little background of how I got here and how we ended up connecting
Yes.
through, obviously through Abuela. And so maybe where we can go now is you guys tell us how you got Sister Compass, how that formed, and what it is, and what do you guys work with, and how does it work?
Yeah. Do you want to
Mm.
start? You want me to start?
Oh gosh. Yeah, go ahead. You could start, Jen.
Okay. So right around also 2020, that's really when I was starting to get deep into personal development, and I joined a personal development program that was really for relationship. I was having a lot of trouble with like the way I wanted to raise my kids was really different than my husband. And he's a police officer, so he's very authoritative. And I really wanted more like conscious parenting. And I was like struggling. And so I joined this relationship program to try and heal that, or try to gain the skills where we could come into just more alignment around parenting. But I didn't realize like parenting was one aspect, but it was like so much more than that for me and my journey. So I did a lot of deep work on myself and just relationships in general. And Tiffany was also in that program, and she was a coach for that program and had also been a student in that program for many years. And I signed up to for coaching with her. So she was my coach for a few years, and we just felt a connection. And at the same time, I was also on this spiritual journey, and I was learning all about spirituality and connection and meditation and crystals and angels. And she had been really seasoned for many years in all these things. So she was a really good resource for me to learn. And so started asking all kinds of questions. So we just became really good friends. And I was just curious about who she was and what her journey was. And she had been wearing this compass necklace that she has on today. And I just asked about it one day. I said, like, what's this mean to you? And she told me this story. I'll let her tell the actual story, but she told me the story about what the compass meant, and um, how she kind of developed this Compass Rose title and started her own coaching business. And she had all of these beautiful ideas and, things that she wanted to create in the world. And I just was like, we're doing this. There was just something that's like these things need to be brought into the world. Like I just really felt drawn to be a part of that. And I remember being like, I don't know, like maybe I thought maybe like I would help her create a program or some kind of thing. I didn't really think that I would be like a part of it in the way that I am, but there was just this pull for us to create together.
Yeah.
And she's also a Reiki master. And so at this around the same time, maybe a couple of years after we met, she was bringing some women down just for like a girls' weekend to Florida to teach Reiki, because people had been interested in just learning level 1 Reiki. And so she invited me to come, and I said yes, of course. And we were also starting to get into, I was starting to get into divine feminine circles, so moon circles. And we found a woman that's right here in Boston, and she's got this beautiful property that's like in the woods, and she's a priestess, and she holds these beautiful ceremonies. And Tiffany found her on Instagram and was like, I think this woman is like right near you. And she was. And it was like, we always joke, it was like literally this temple like fell from the sky. And so we joined her program as well. We started going to these temples together. And look, we live 3 to 4 hours away. So, I mean, luckily we live close enough where it is in driving distance. But, she'd come up to Boston. We would go to these ceremonies, and I was learning a lot about what that means, like what it mean, what the divine feminine is, why we're forgotten about it, how to come back into it, like what priestess work is. And so when we went on this Reiki, we wasn't even a retreat. It was just like a group of girls, like just maybe 5 of us. She had said, do you want to help me create like a moon circle, and we can build that into the Reiki teaching? And so we did that. And then at the same time, I was just like, I was keeping track of like the books during that. I was like, really wanted to make sure, like I really wanted to help her stay organized. And so it just like naturally fell into that. And then from there, we did Reiki level 1, and there's 3 levels to Reiki. So everybody in that group, for the most part, wanted to do 2 and 3. And so each time we did that, we built upon it more and more. Um, and and then we were like, we need to make this into a business. And we kind of went through, and neither of us are really business women. I mean, Tiffany has a coaching business, but I mean, I was very academic, and we really kind of felt like we didn't know a lot about what we were doing, but we just took like the next step in terms of, all the steps that it takes just to start up a business. And it's really unfolded really organically. And so we've been doing these Reiki retreats, and we also created a virtual online community of sisters called More Magic, where we do online ceremony. We've gotten certified in breath work. So sometimes we lead breath work. We do spiritual teachings. We follow the cycles of the seasons and the moon. And it's just a nice way for us all to really stay in sisterhood outside of being able to be in person. And so how we got connected to you was we have one of the women that came on retreat with us, who's also a beautiful yoga instructor and somatics leader. She lives in Mexico City, and she was like, you guys should come down and do a retreat in Mexico. And somehow it all unfolded. We did not this past year, but yet last year, we did our first retreat in the Yucatan for Reiki master level. And it was so beautiful. And she was really helping us curate a chef and a transport. And then we wanted the women to be able to, we wanted to give them some sort of excursion. And that's where we found the Green Maya. Well, she found the Green Maya Project, and she found you, and we got connected with you so that we could gift these women this beautiful cacao ceremony with Abuela. And it's just been like nothing I could have ever thought or planned in my head. It's just been so gorgeous to be able to be connected down there to the land, to, just these types of just authentic ceremony. So I'll stop there because I feel like I could go on and on, but I want to let Tiffany talk.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it. All right, Tiffany, share your side
Sure.
of it.
Yeah, it's been a journey, right? I'm 54 years old, so I feel like it's been a long journey, but I'm going to just go back for a second to talking about my childhood. So, as I was saying to you earlier, I grew up Catholic, and so my first image of the goddess was Mother Mary. And so I was very, very drawn to her, and I always longed for in the church when I was growing up. I longed for more female representation besides just Mother Mary. I wanted to be, like I said, I was like super into spirituality, and I wanted to be at that time. There was something called altar boys, right? And now I believe they do let girls do it, but they didn't. I grew, it was like 1978 at that time. And I went to the head priest, the Monsignor, and I asked him if I could be an altar boy. I even said that. And he said, no. And I had asked him why. And he said, because I was a girl. And it went back and forth. And he really didn't have a good enough answer for me as to why that was a thing. And I was a little bold at that time in my life, so I really pushed it. But it always left me not understanding why the feminine wasn't as upheld or represented in, traditional religions, right? But I would take my Mother Mary statue I had in my home, and I would go behind my house was a bird sanctuary. And I would take this statue and I would go out into the bird sanctuary, and I would essentially make an altar and dance and sing and talk to her. I had no idea that I was really doing ancient, like, sacred ritual that the feminine has been doing for eons. But it felt so natural and like a true connection to the divine. And I really felt that feminine divine energy. And she was
Before you had the words to even explain what it was
100%.
just coming through
That's
you.
right.
And
Yes. And in fact, years later, Mother Mary still walks as a guide for me. And years later in a meditation, she said to me, "You are the compass rose." And so that's where that came from. And it's really about guiding people back to their own truth, right? Back to their own hearts, their own wisdom. And so for
Tell
many,
them what your tagline is.
for the direction of your soul.
I love that because it goes back to the compass and like the direction. I think it's
Yes, for
beautiful.
sure. So all these years, as I said before, I was a seeker in the healing arts, doing all that kind of work. But I always had this vision of I really wanted to bring women together. Like I said, I grew up in this sort of matriarchal family. And although we had our stuff like anybody else, right? But whenever we were together, just the women, whether it was cooking or singing or laughing, and I just loved the feeling when women were all together. I felt like I noticed just that communion, and our power. Like I felt like our power, our empowerment increased. And I just always wanted to bring spaces to women where they can feel like they can be their full truth selves, take off the mask, that kind of thing. And so I sought that out in my life. And so for many years, I was in women's circles. I led women's circles, was in women's circles, and just wanted to really create that space. And I always thought I would have like a tangible brick and mortar space where women could come. But it just didn't happen. I got married. I had 3 little kids. We moved from New York City to the suburbs, and life just started to take on being life. My husband traveled a lot for his business, and I was a birth doula at that time, an end of life doula, and I had the 3 kids, and it just didn't happen. So when I met Jen, that dream was still very alive in my heart to run more circles again. And she shared how we started with the retreats. And then it just started to grow from there. And what I think I realized, because there were times that I was hard on myself for letting that dream take a pause when I had my children. But I think what I realized is that I had to have my sister in order to create Sister Compass. I had the name Sister Compass, and I think my soul was just really waiting for my sister. And she really is a soul sister to me. And when she came in, it just started aligning, and we just took one step at a time, and it's been really fun to create.
Yeah.
oh, I love it. Such a beautiful story. And it seems like maybe you hold circles in your home, but you've created a brick and mortar behind you because you have all of your crystals and
Yes, for
angels.
sure. For sure.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
We have, and we've done it through retreats. We've done pop-ups, community things. We had a big summer solstice ceremony, all-day ceremony retreat at my house this summer. And then we have this online membership sisterhood that's been for how many years now already, Jen? Is it like 2 years?
Yeah.
That we've been doing More Magic, which is an online membership sisterhood. So it's been really neat. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love the messaging behind the divine feminine. So during COVID or right before COVID had started, I had joined a friend had invited me to a meditation on this sacred land.
Mm.
And at this point, I moved here full time in 2018. So my Spanish wasn't, that great still. I was still trying to figure out how to just do the basic things.
I was gonna ask you, like, how you learned the language and if you must be, like, totally fluent now.
Well, I understand everything.
Yeah.
My problem is I get too in my head when I try and reply.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
start trying to break down the grammatical, who am I talking to? Is it in the past? Is it in the present, in the future? I got the verbs, but how do you change the end of it? That
Yeah.
that throws me sometimes. But no, I make do with it now. I'm good now. The cool part is my son who, he didn't speak any Spanish before we moved here, and he was 15,
Wow.
and now he's fluent. He lives in Barcelona. He's going
Ah,
to a Spanish university, speaks, fluent. I'm like, okay, I guess I don't know if it's an age thing, but I am definitely jealous of
that's
his
amazing.
skills. And so to back up, I did this meditation, and it was all in Spanish. And it
Mm.
was all like grandmothers. It was all older people. They were all 20, 30 years older than me. And and it was led by a grandmother, and it was all in Spanish. So I had no idea other than assuming what typical meditations, would be said during meditation. I didn't know what she was saying. I had no idea. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go into my own meditation. I'm going to join this divine energy because it was all women,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just going to sit here in this circle and be with them. And the message that came to me was heal the women, heal the planet.
Mm.
And so this was
Mhm.
right before COVID. So, we didn't even have that as a situation yet.
Yeah.
But coming from where I had lost my faith from this masculine who took advantage of the masculine to take advantage of the women or the
Mm.
feminine, right? And so
Mm.
it was very confusing as to what is my direction? How am I going to reconnect to this? Because I'd felt so powerful in my divine feminine until I either gave it away or he took it or however that energy
Yeah.
shifted.
Yeah.
And so I was in this process of like, how do I reconnect to my divine, my guidance, my
Yep.
compass? And so sitting in that meditation, it said, heal the women, heal the planet.
I love
And it
that.
just kept repeating it. And I was like,
Mm.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Mm.
let's do that. And so then I had then COVID hit. So then I was like, oh shit, how am I going to do that now? Right? Because I was thinking I'm going to do it through tourism. I'm going to do women's retreats to figure out how to do this. So then, it was back to the kind of drawing board of trying to figure out how to implement or wait until, whatever that year and a half of pause of all of us trying to figure out what was going on. But that message was implanted or the seed was planted. And I was like, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. And the interesting thing, and the two of you will connect with this too, is that we have men, we have these boys, we have this masculine energy,
Yeah.
and so how do we reconnect to this divine feminine without devaluing or taking away from the
100%.
masculine?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that is not the point, right? That would just be swinging a pendulum this way and this way. And really, it's about integration, right? And understanding that we all have both masculine and feminine energy within us. And, just unfortunately, the way, the patriarchal system, and that's not men, it's a system that has deeply wounded men as well. But it was a system based in dominance, power, control, right? And so the divine feminine has been erased, oppressed, right? And it's bringing her back in balance because the divine masculine needs that to be back in balance too. We both need each other to be in our divine, I guess, energies, perspectives, so that we can integrate. And really, that's how we heal the world, when we are both coming back into our rightful places. And so you're right. It's not about devaluing the masculine at all. And unfortunately, that narrative has gotten out there somehow, that whether it's feminism or whether it's divine feminine, that somehow equals not, wanting to now oppress the masculine, when that couldn't be farther from the truth. It's really just about, coming into each coming into our own truth and recognizing the balance of both of those energies within us. And so, yeah, Jen, is there anything you wanted to share about that?
Well, first of all, I love that mantra that came to you in meditation, because
Yeah.
it feels really aligned to what we see as well. And we always talk about, like, the women that come to us, we really believe that they, even if they don't realize it, that they're light workers here too, like lighthouses, to help stabilize the light, the divine feminine energy, and be part of the ripple and to heal this planet. And kind of as we move into this, everybody talks about like this new kind of 5-dimensional world. We really feel like part of that is gathering the women so that they can be part of this planetary healing. So I love that. And yes, I think this is something that we teach a lot about, bringing the divine masculine and feminine into balance, and that it is not about swinging the pendulum, into like, women are right and, men suck, because it is a narrative that's been threaded that, a lot of women kind of feel, but it's about coming back into wholeness and bringing the planet back into wholeness, and healing the divisiveness and the separation that is here. But that starts with us. We have to heal the divisiveness within us and the separation within us. And so we start there. And as we heal internally, we're able to just naturally anchor that light and spread that light on the planet. And so I feel like it's all very connected to what you're saying. So I'm just grateful that Source brought us together today for this conversation.
Yay!
Hey.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, it's each one of us have our unique gifts. And this is where the podcast came from too. It's like, we all have women, I'm speaking specifically, we have our own journeys, right? Where our paths of where we came from and how we get to where we're at. But we all go through the same things.
Yeah.
We all hit these pivotal moments in our life from different routes,
Yep.
but we are connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to use that energy and that force to help each other reconnect to those gifts that we have to share to the planet, to the energy, to balancing the masculine and the feminine, and being a part of the healing as a whole, right? So
Yeah. I love what you said there about like we all kind of navigate, have the, at the core, have very similar desires. When we started this work, we did some market research and we were like, what are women really desiring? What is it? What are their pain points? What are they really desiring? And it was so interesting to see that there were just a few that really stood out. And one was this sense of belonging, and really being able to belong in their full authenticity, right? Like to be able to take their masks off and all the conditioning that's been put on us and be their true authentic selves and be witnessed, seen, loved, heard, right? Supported in that for who they truly are. And that was one of the biggest ones. And then another one was this sort of feeling like they knew they wanted more. They knew there was more, but they didn't quite know what exactly that might mean, right? Like just that there's something within them stirring that desired more, but what exactly is that? And so, we have, Jen, do you want to talk about our 3 tenets a little bit? The belong, be you, be magic, or?
Yeah. We came up with these 3 kind of pillars of what Sister Compass stands for, and it's belong, be you. Well, it's be you, belong, be magic. And so really what that means is, be you first. And that is like reconnecting to yourself. And we just find that women are so disconnected from their own worthiness. And that is so much of the work that we do, like be you. And also disconnected, well, I'll talk about the belong part, disconnected from other women. This idea of the sister wound, where women just naturally, quote unquote naturally, because it's not really natural, but mistrust other women, feel
That
hurt.
was conditioned into us.
Yes, that's
Mistrust.
conditioning.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's just happens naturally without really any real reason. Women just feel they're in comparison, they're in competition. They're really underneath that afraid of, just betrayal and hurt, which is conditioning that has been placed upon us because women together are so powerful. And I think we can all feel that when we're in groups of women.
Yeah.
And that has been broken and erased over time to keep us disempowered. And so it's about kind of remembering that and teaching them that there is safety with women. And I feel like my relationship with Tiffany is it's like our relationship is the foundation in this sisterhood, and then spread out that way. Like women can be in this, beautiful, connected, loving relationship where they're uplifting each other, and there's no threads of, competition, jealousy, betrayal, any of that stuff. And so that's really the belong is retraining their nervous systems to be able to feel safe in groups of women. And then be magic is them remembering that they are magic, they are divine. And that's one of the ways that we use Reiki. They get Reiki certified, but also they're on a deeper level. They are coming back into resonance with their own inner magic through an energy modality like Reiki. And it gives them a tangible way to actually feel that and use that and remember who they are. And yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the empowerment piece, right? The be magic, like where you really begin to understand that you carry and hold the wisdom within you and the connection within you. And I mean, women, we are the oracles, right? Like this is it. We were the medicine women. We were the midwives. We were, abuela, right? Like we were the ones who the intuition, who ran the rites of passages and all of that, reconnecting back to that within ourselves, so that we can feel that empowerment of who we really are and the gifts that the feminine bring, right? The divine masculine brings their own gifts for sure, but the divine feminine gifts have been a bit erased. And so that is part of that healing the women.
Yeah, when they started calling us witches, I think
Yes.
that's when it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And, we learned that like witch really just means wise woman, but it's been put like there's been such a stigma now, like where witches are these evil, creatures that fly on brooms. So it's been totally distorted.
I wish I could fly on a broom.
I know.
We'd get a lot more done faster, wouldn't we?
Yeah. And I think, part of the healing, at least I think for many women in business, though, is like putting themselves out there, especially when what you're teaching is a little bit edgy or not in, conformity with everybody else. And, we have had our own, uh, threads of like that feeling of past trauma from maybe it's other lives or just in our ancestry or our nervous system, where being seen and saying these things and kind of looking like, oh, she's a witch or weird, talking about all of this like divine feminine stuff.
Woo woo, juju magic.
Yes.
Exactly.
That has been such a journey, like a micro journey in this bigger journey of like being able to step out and really be seen in this way, which is just part of, just another part of the healing.
I love it. It's so beautiful. Can you ladies share a little bit, like, what is Reiki? How does it work? What is kind of a definition, or is it a feeling? Is it share more. I don't have any experience with Reiki. With all my years of this, I have never had a Reiki session, and so I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah. So Reiki is it's a divine frequency. at its core. It's a divine frequency. Traditionally, it's a Japanese methodology that was channeled, and it's a healing modality. But if you think about it, if you think about frequency, like on radio stations, right? And if you tuned into 92.5, right, or 100.3, there would be a different type of song that was on each station, right? And that's really what Reiki is. It's like you're tuning into one station of divine frequency. That's Reiki. And the way that you can use it is, I mean, the uses for it is endless, because you're really essentially tapping into higher frequency. So it's one of the reasons we teach women that, so that they can start to feel for themselves what it's like to tune into source. We also get a lot of women sometimes that say, I want to deepen my relationship with spirituality, but I just don't know how. Like, I have this craving to be more spiritual, but I'm not really sure. And so Reiki is almost like this gateway, because it's been systematized, where you learn hand placements and you have symbols where you open up to feel the energy. And so it's a really like, what would be the word? I guess systematized way of teaching someone how to feel a type of source energy. And usually once they tap into that, and there's all these beautiful, self-healing that you can do, plants, animals, it's like this gateway that women go on and on to like really expand their own spiritual experience and modalities. Jen, is there something you want to add to that? I don't want
I
to like.
think I think we teach it, and this is how it is taught, that it's life force energy, and that you are a channel or a conduit or a tube that's allowing this frequency come through you, through your hands, through your heart, to yourself or to a plant, an animal, or another person, for the purpose of well-being, relaxation, healing, and that we're not actually putting the Reiki into people. We're just acting as a conduit for the energy to channel through us. And the Reiki has its own intelligence. It is a specific frequency, like Tiffany said. When you get Reiki certified, you are attuned, almost like if you were to tune a guitar, you are attuned to the frequency of Reiki, and that has to be done. It's a whole kind of systemized process that has to be done by a Reiki master. And once you are attuned to that frequency, that radio station, you're attuned to that frequency for life. And then you can act as a channel for this life force energy to flow through you.
Yep.
For all the ways that I just said. And so it's just a beautiful energy, and it's so simple. And I mean, I use it every single day just on myself, to be able to connect in anytime, you're going through a hard time, about to do something that might be a little nerve-wracking, have trouble sleeping, trouble with kids, like any kind of, or even like the high stuff. Like if you can use it for anything. It's so versatile and it's so simple. And I really feel this pull to spread Reiki more, because the world needs this. People need this. Women need this. And it's so easy to do once you get trained, once you get certified, and it is life-changing. It's something that you fall back on over and over again while we're trying to navigate this world that can be really hard sometimes. So I'm
Yeah.
just so grateful for it.
It is. It's empowering to feel like you have something that you can just connect into, like that can offer healing to the world. We've had mothers who have learned Reiki who have said, I'm just so grateful for this, because, my son is traveling, is traveling the world, and I feel so, separate from him, or like there's nothing I can do, but with his permission, I can send him Reiki. So, that just, encases him with love, protection, divine source. And so it really is this empowerment tool. But I love how you shared that, Jen, with it is truly at its core, this life force energy, and we act as the conduits. And it's just a really amazing tool to teach women, to help them tune back into their own empowerment.
So that it resonates really well with me, and things kind of just coming full circle for me right now. So when I did my first sacred medicine ceremony,
Yep. Mhm.
this was many years ago now. But the first thing, the visual that came to me was everything was energy. Everything, our physical self, the tables, the cup, like everything is energy.
Yeah.
But the energy forms a solid to make each
Right.
one of the pieces. But in between all of us is energy. And
Mhm.
I could see that. And I was like, holy shit, we're all connected. Everything is connected.
Yes. What was the medicine, if you don't mind sharing?
DMT
Uh-huh.
from the toad,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
bufo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And so it just connected for me. So if you've been trained in Reiki and you become a Reiki master, then you know how to take that frequency of energy and utilize it as the conduit to bring it to what you're needing. So you're taking, okay, I need that frequency for this that I'm going through or trying to process. So as a Reiki master, you're able to kind of pull that energy
Yeah,
in a sense.
so we're not manipulating anything with that energy, right? So just like Jen said, we're acting like a conduit, like a hose. But you can intentionally open your channel to be the hose to direct, I guess you would say, a more potent frequency of life force energy for whatever it is. So let's say it's a dying plant, right? And you're like, I'm going to do some Reiki on my plant. And so you're opening yourself as a hose, like a hose, so that that life force energy, that particular frequency is coming through you and then through the palms of your hands. You could do it other ways, eyes, hands, breath. You are directing that energy to the plant. But here's the thing. We're not directing it with an attachment to an outcome. We're not trying to manipulate anything. It's like you're just the hose, and this is an offering for divine life force energy to come through and surround you. And that plant and that source energy have their own contract. It's a divine intelligence that comes through. So if that plant is supposed to heal, then it will heal. Like there is a healing that is always taking place, and we can set an intention for that healing, but we are not directing and controlling or manipulating that healing. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Interesting. Super
Yeah.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
I just had this visual of like the energy is using us as a vessel to focalize, right? So if you think about, if you ever took a magnifying glass and you're trying to like burn an ant or something, like outside when you were a kid.
No!
Not an ant, sorry, like a piece of wood.
Well, that would be a boy.
I never
A
did.
boy
I
thing.
never did.
Yeah, boys do that.
But you're using the energy of the sun. It's creating heat, and you're focalizing it through that magnifying glass. And I just got that visual, like because there's energy everywhere, and you're right, everything is energy. Even the solid things are not fully solid. Like
Solid,
they look solid to us, right?
Yes.
But
Yep.
everything is made up if you go down to the tiniest particle of energy, and then you're getting into quantum physics and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's all fascinating. And so we're allowing the Reiki to channel through us to focalize whatever it is, healing, well-being, relaxation. And again, without an agenda or an outcome from our human mind. The Reiki has its own intelligence, but we get to be that channel for this divine energy of love, really is what it is. And
Yeah.
yes. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I love it. I
Yeah.
love
And
it.
we get a lot of women that are like, this really builds self-confidence, intuition, and self-love, because we get so many women that are like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I don't know if I can do this. I've never, like, I'm not spiritual, like all of this chatter, but anybody can do this. You don't
Yeah.
have to be skilled or have a certain gift to do this. And so it's so beautiful to see their growth coming from like, I don't think I feel anything, I'm not doing it right, to like them actually believing in themselves as a
Yeah.
healer, as a channel, and getting to the point where they know that they're doing it. So that's always so satisfying, I think, to me. And
And maybe it's something too that it's not something you can think.
Right.
It's something that you feel.
Yeah.
that's right.
And so getting out of that chatter, like you
Yep.
said, that brain, "Da, da, 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 what is this? This doesn't make any
Right.
sense," da, da, da," to actually feeling it in your body, in your spirit, in
Yeah.
your soul. Ah, now I feel. Now I get it.
Right. And that's a very feminine energy, right? So moving from the masculine mind energy to this more feminine feeling energy, helping women to understand what it's like to go back to feeling their feminine, because we live in a very masculine structured society, right? And so we've all been kind of conditioned to be in our masculine so much. And again, masculine, not bad, but we can't be in it all the time.
Well,
And
it takes the balance out,
right.
right?
And
Like
we've
you
lost
need
that
both.
right. And many women have lost that connection to what their innate feminine energy is. So when working with energy work like this, just like you were describing, Sarah, it helps them to like tune back into intuition, trust, feeling. Okay. And so that's why we use it also as another way to help women connect back into their divine feminine.
Mm. Ah, oh. Love it. I love it. Okay, so what if how do you stay connected? I know like I said, like I'd lost my connection to spirituality, like things were like I was questioning it. What do you ladies do kind of on a day to day or week to week? How do you keep connected physically, spiritually, mentally, when going through the trials and tribulations of life, of normal stuff, getting a speeding ticket or your husband a cop came to my mind. But like just the hard challenges and I mean here in Mexico, that is the one thing I swear it's like for instance, the air conditioner guy was supposed to come yesterday at 10 o'clock. He doesn't show up until noon, and it's like you have this meeting and you have these things and just life starts happening and it's like, damn it. And so what are your day-to-day practices that kind of help you to keep going through, normal stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen, you want to start, honey? Or
Sure. Well, first of all, I think that this is part of being human, right? Like we're going to feel connected sometimes and we're going to feel disconnected other times. And we kind of talk about it as like we remember that we're divine and that we're connected and then we forget.
yeah.
And life as a human on this planet is just about going in between those things. And as we practice, we can be more connected more frequently. But I think for me, not judging my human piece when I, do slip out of it and I am triggered and I totally forget all of the practices is like number one, because we're not supposed to be fully connected in constantly. And we always say, if that was true, we wouldn't be here. Like we would be doing something else because that is not the human experience.
Yeah,
And
this is a
so
learning planet.
that's right. It's like a mystery school. It's a
Yeah.
school here, and it's like I don't know why this just came like 52 card pickup. We throw them all, and then like the game is that you're going around picking them up and putting them back into order. So, for me, I like to have a consistent daily practice though, because it just helps keep the thread going. And look, we're teaching this all the time, so we feel like just naturally teaching this you're more connected. But personally, each morning, even if it's only for a few minutes, I like to just close my eyes and ground into the earth, feel the earth below me, feel, source above me. And I open my energetic channel, my Reiki channel, and I flow some Reiki to myself. Even if it's just for a few minutes, I kind of have my own little mantras that I say, but I make that a priority because it's very easy to just blow it off because we're getting ready for work. We have to be somewhere. But I've noticed if I don't do that, even if I just do it for a few minutes, if I skip it, I do feel really disconnected throughout the day. And I can tell later on that I forgot to do my practice. And this can look a different thing. Sometimes I'll just sit in meditation. Sometimes I'll listen to a recorded meditation. Sometimes I will just sit in silence out in the grass. Being in the earth is a beautiful way to feel
Yeah.
connected. So I sit outside in my yard a lot. I like to pull oracle cards sometimes. That's as part of my practice from time to time is pulling an oracle card, and trusting it and using that as like a muscle builder for my own trust in the divine, for my own intuition. And then throughout the day, it's really about awareness for me. Like that is the number one thing. A lot of us go through life just being completely unaware. We feel like life's happening to us. And so every time something happens, we're in this victim mode. And from that place, the ego feels powerful, but we're not powerful because there's nothing that we can actually do to feel better when we're just forgetting. So when I get triggered or there's something that happens, like the air conditioner guy not coming, it's just a remembrance of like, even if it's as simple as a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly, and doing some deep breaths really just brings you right back into yourself and right back into connection. And sometimes we forget, sometimes we go off, and then later we can kind of look back on the day and say, okay, I was really, forgetting at that point. But I think like the number one thing for me is to just prioritize it as part of my life, as a daily practice, that kind of like going to the gym, but this only needs to be even just a few minutes. Tiff, do you want to add on to that?
Sure. Yeah, it's beautiful, Jen. I love that. Yeah, I do a lot of the same practices that Jen does too. I have a daily practice, even if it's 5 minutes. I love it to be longer. I usually do, I'd say on average, probably about 30 to 40 minutes a day, at least, if I can. And being in nature, even if that just means my backyard, but barefoot on the earth or laying in the earth, the sun is so life-giving, and we've been so conditioned to not believe that the sun is so life-giving, but it is. And so that really connects me back into source. Meditation, um, Reiki, absolutely. We say opening up our channel. And what we mean by that is, if you think of like your central core of your chakra, your gateways, right? Like just really, even if you don't know Reiki, just opening that up and letting even the sun just pour through, or feel that light, or imagine a white light kind of washing over you, or opening and expanding your heart. And yeah, and movement's really big for me. I used to dance, and is one of the ways that I feel like I connect most to goddess, to source, is through movement. Movement, music, breath, body work. I was a massage therapist, body worker for a while. Like, so just incorporating all of these is what, if I have not moved for a while, and play, if I've not had fun, really making, oh, is that a puppy?
Yeah.
I love that. But one of the things I wanted to say, based on what Jen had brought up, was about this idea of us being human, and really developing the compassion and self-love for the human parts of ourselves and life and others. And what I've developed that has helped me is my relationship with Divine Mother, and as this sort of overarching mother figure that lives in my heart, and in my mind, that can speak really kindly to me. So when I'm having a moment of, let's say it's comparison or jealousy or a trigger, or everything's feeling, the guy didn't show up, where I can stop, just like Jen was saying, and place a hand on a heart and breathe. And I also allow that divine mother voice to come through. Like, what is it that you're really needing right now? Like, why are you so upset in this moment? What is it that's really upsetting you? And usually you find that it's like this, almost like a childlike fear of some sort, whether you feel like you're going to have lack in some way, or miss, something, and when you can just get to that. And it doesn't have to be long. It could be 3 minutes, yourself in the bathroom mirror, or just, quietly, what was that about? Why did I get so triggered about that? Okay. and then allowing your soul or that divine mother or love or source to just come in that moment and say, it's okay. You're going to be all right. Like, you'll move through this. It's just that. It's not the, the end of this or that. And just developing that, is a beautiful tool. So
Yeah, it really is a muscle. And
Mhm.
I think I think all of this is really about just coming back into presence, into the present moment in life, because most of the time we're living in the past or the future. We're not in just this present moment. And when we come back into the present moment, I feel like that's when we can really connect and comfort ourselves and remember, that it's okay, that we're supported, that everything really is working out. And right now in this present moment, we're okay. Like, there
Yeah,
isn't a problem in the present moment. So
right.
just wanted to add that.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Life will happen or whatever, and I'll miss a day or 2 days if something traveling. And
Yeah,
you
for
ladies just
sure.
got back from vacation, so keeping up with the kiddos and the
Yep.
family and where are we going? And so you'll miss a day or two, and I'll go, oh, what's going on? And then it's like, I got to get back to my.
I gotta
I have
connect.
to take
Right.
back. Yeah, I have to reconnect.
Yep.
And as soon as you do it, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
take your seven.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
true.
Are.
It's
Yeah.
so
Because my
true.
practices are very similar to you ladies, of course. Just
Yeah.
taking that moment, the meditation, the breathing, the movement, and me. And I really liked what you said, Tiffany, about having kind of this mother figure, mother energy that is taking care of the inner child in all
Yeah.
of us, right?
Yeah.
That's like,
Right.
Yeah.
you are okay. You're safe. Everything's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Because most of our suffering comes from our attachment, right? Our attachment, our expectations. And if we can have this divine parent figure that can really come in and help mother that inner child. Um, and like Jen was saying, help us to come into the present and realize we really are supported and it's okay. And we have the tools.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I've seen in a bit of your postings and information that you're putting out there that you ladies are doing another retreat or a certification. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're so excited. We have a new level 1 Reiki Divine Feminine retreat coming up in November, and we have 4 or 5 spots left.
4
Jen, four,
spots.
4 spots left. And it's going to be in Florida, and we're super excited about it. So, invitation if this speaks to anyone. Jen, do you want to share a little bit more about it?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years since we did a brand new Reiki level 1. We were running 2 groups of women at once for a while, and that got to be a lot. So we took a year off from restarting a new cohort, and we actually did a lot of our own inner work during that time. And so we're kind of coming in with this new level to start a new group of women to start with Reiki level 1. We teach all 3, and we'll bring this group through all 3, but that doesn't mean that people have to stay for 3 retreats. Like, we're starting with Reiki level 1, and they get certified in Reiki, and they get they're really coming into this divine feminine sisterhood space where we're weaving in sacred ceremony, breath work, somatics with the Reiki certification. So it's not just coming to learn Reiki. And the way that we do it, it's all very woven into these other modalities, and particularly divine feminine. We teach it through a divine feminine lens, through this remembrance. It's really a remembrance that they're coming into, and it is super powerful. We got a beautiful Airbnb that's on a canal, so we're very excited about that. We eat together. We're sleeping all in the same house. We have a private chef, so all of the meals are covered, and it's 4 nights at the Airbnb. And then in addition to that, once we come home, it's a big experience, especially for women who are just learning this. Although women who have already had certification are invited, because this is so different than just your run-of-the-mill Reiki certification. And once they get home, we offer a 21-day or a 3-week healing integration program with us, where we're really helping them for 3 full weeks afterwards integrate what they've learned and start a practice. And we're here for questions, or if they're having trouble, or just mainly for accountability as they come home and they integrate Reiki in their own channels, which are still expanding afterwards into their everyday life. So we're so excited about it. It's just beautiful in so many ways. And yeah, we have got 4 open spots if anybody is interested.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just wanted to add to that too, like what Jen was sharing, is again, Reiki. Yes, you're getting a Reiki certification, but we're also doing embodiment practices. And one of the big pieces of what we do both on retreats and in our online sisterhood is sacred ceremony. So there'll be, I think, 4 ceremonies on this retreat. And that's really a space where we intentionally gather to honor the sacred, and it's really a technology. It's a priestess technology, ancient technology, frequency and healing that is so incredible, that we have had women who have never sat in sacred ceremony before that have sat with us and have just cried and shared that they finally feel like they are home. Like that was the peace they were longing for. And it's really beautiful to witness. It's really powerful.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I couldn't agree more that the ceremony, you can't explain it until you
Yeah.
have experienced it.
Yeah.
And something you said, Jen, earlier, it's love.
Yeah.
It's love. It's feeling the safe, the security. I'm come home. For me, not growing up with any kind of religion or ritual, but for me, ceremony is my church. Ceremony is when things are tough, something's going on. The first thing I do is I send abuela a message. I'm like, okay, what do you have planned? What's going on? I need to reconnect to the divine feminine, to that energy. And something else that you said, Jen, that I think is super important is the integration. Because when we come home from a retreat or from one of these experiences, we feel amazing. We're so connected to that energy, to that source, and everything is wonderful. But then life happens, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
Yep.
not knowing how to use what we had through that. And so having those
Right.
tools and having you ladies support that into the integration of like, okay, it was just a bump and I'm okay and I'm safe, and everything I learned in that experience is still here with me.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you're together with women for extended days and you're doing this work, you do, and especially in ceremony, there's a coherence that's created, like the energy of each woman is in resonance, and you create this like coherent field of energy. And so coming back, so you're in kind of like almost like this vortex during the retreat, and coming back can feel really hard and stark. It's almost like if you were like went to another planet and then you were just kind of like dropped off back here and like with nobody. So so important for their integration and their learning, but also for their nervous system and their hearts to feel that they're still connected with these women, even though we're not, physically together. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's really how our sisterhood membership was kind of born out of that, right? Like it was born from us doing these 3-week integrations post retreats, because we have both felt like we've gone on retreats or we've done things and then have just been left off afterwards, like, okay, now you go integrate that by yourself. And it's like, how do I do that? And so it was really important to us, just like you were saying, Sarah, to support that. And then from that, women wanted to stay in connection and have a place where they can do regular life and come in and say, hey, my kid just left for college and I am devastated, or, my husband lost his job, or, whatever it is that we are navigating in our 3D lives, right? But have this sacred space to come to where you can be supported, reminded of the tools, connect back in to yourself. And that's really how it was born. And one of the reasons why we've created that More Magic Sisterhood, where it's just this everyday ongoing space for women. Community. We don't have that anymore, right? Because we live in these separate houses, or at least in America, we live in these separate houses. We don't live intergenerationally anymore. We don't have women's circles anymore where we were coming together to make decisions, support, rites of passage, birth, death, menstruation, all of that we do alone, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, Sarah, I just wanted to also say, like, I didn't grow up in any religion either. I had family members that were spiritual and, like, were connected, but I was always a little, maybe even like a little bit of afraid of it. And did not go to church. I grew up on no religion, so I feel you when you're like, ceremony is my church, because I feel the same way, and I'm just grateful that that I came into this at this point in my life. And yeah, it's just, I'm like, okay, everything was always working out the way it was supposed to.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I'm so happy to get to know you ladies and to hear your stories and to hear about your work. Um, and so I'm going to make sure and put in the show notes all of your information. So anyone who wants to get in connection with you, they'll have all of your information there and they can connect you directly. And if anyone's interested in your upcoming retreat, I'll put all of that. We'll put all of that in there. Yeah, because I feel like we're on the same mission. I'm doing the same work and helping women reconnect to their divine feminine and heal the women, heal the planet, find the balance.
Yeah.
And
Support our masculine.
Any way we could support you too, Sarah. I'm so
Absolutely.
grateful for this connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Women supporting women. It just lifts them both. And I was just like, oh my God, maybe we need to go down, Tiff, and like just do a temazcal with Sarah, with
Sarah and Abuela. Yeah.
Yes, which we were going to do. We had talked to you about it, and then we ended up going to the spot instead after our last retreat.
After your whole, with the work that you do, everyone's energy. I mean, you're holding space for all those women's energy, right? And so you have to remember that's not easy work.
Yeah.
It's heavy energy that people are releasing and letting go of, and it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And since you're holding the space, it comes to you.
Yeah.
So you have to take care of yourself, and going to the spa and getting touched and rubbed.
Yeah, we went back and forth for a long time because we really wanted like the experience of the temazcal, but like exactly what you were saying, we realized that this is going to be better for us on
this
a
time.
physical nervous system level, like all of it. And it was a beautiful experience. And I know that we'll get there with Abuela.
Yeah. And when you do, I mean, it needs to be an experience just for you.
That's right.
Because it is super powerful. I mean, I have done sacred medicinal ceremonies. And I've done probably 50 temazcal ceremonies now.
50? Wow.
50.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is still just as intense as the first one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So depending on what's going on and the medicine that the ceremony gives to you, it's intense. It's intense. And you got to kind of have the space to process it and to work through it. And you know how powerful Abuela is. So you'll be taken well care of.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anytime you want, you're welcome. I can set you up with everything here on the ground, and we can do it together, and we'll have an amazing time.
Amazing. I'm just so grateful for this contact, that we have you. And also like this feels very synchronistic, just the way that we met and being able, and thank you so much for inviting us here. It just feels very like divinely orchestrated. And I feel like we're all kind of just met meant to meet and to be, sharing this with each other.
I agree. I
Yes.
completely agree.
Me
Super
too.
grateful.
Mm-mm.
Me
So
too.
good.
Awesome. All right. So we will say goodbye for now, but not
Okay.
forever. We'll keep sharing, and I will, again, like I said, put everything in the show notes. So anyone who wants to contact you or find you, that's possible. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to both of you for obviously joining me and sharing your stories, but also for the work that you're doing, because it's super important and it's super powerful, and I'm grateful to share this journey with you.
Thank
Mm,
you so much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Sarah. We
much.
feel the same. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Work.
Be continued.
To be continued.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Bye for
All
now.
right, ladies. We'll talk soon.
Bye.